He is none other than Marv Albert. How are you, Marv?
Hey, Rich, good. How you doing? I think they're still shooting threes across the street.
Yes.
At the Chesapeake Energy Arena.
Is that what they're just pounding away from that 3-point line?
The last couple of weeks, it's like every record has been either broken, tied. It's crazy.
Do you like that style of basketball, Marv? Do you like it?
Well, I think that some people who are not three-point shooters should not take threes. At times, it's very, very exciting, particularly when it's a team like the Golden State Warriors. But I think it gives the wrong impression even to kids in the schoolyard where the fundamentals are ignored and, firing up three-point shots. It looks like, one of the McDonald's high school all-star games where guys are just intent on firing shots up. So I think there are some people who should not shoot threes, but I know coaches feel particularly with, not that it's a deep analytics because, 3 equals more than 2, but that's what the philosophy is, to fire away. And a guy like James Harden, who should shoot threes, will continue to shoot threes, even though he's 1 for 17. I mean, to me, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, and yet he still has a string of 30-point performances, Marv.
I mean, he's a tremendous player. There's no question what he does. I don't think we've ever seen before the way he handles the ball. But the rules are different now. And certainly the officiating is different in terms of, putting hands on people and hand checking. And it's really just open things up. But I remember Steve Kerr would tell me, and he was a guy who would come off the bench and still, as he mentions almost every day, holds the highest three-point percentage in the history of the NBA. But he didn't shoot as many threes. But he would say when he was with the Bulls or San Antonio, if he'd missed the first couple of shots, he would stop shooting. But he was in a different position, and the three did not have the value that it has today.
No, I know, and obviously Marv Albert here in the Honda Insider Report on the Rich Eisen Show, that we're in an analytics-driven world across all sports. Daryl Morey, who's been on our show several times, is obviously a leader in that department, calling James Harden in the conversation for greatest offensive player of all time for somebody who's seen a ton of basketball like you, Marvin, scores all over the place. Would you agree with that assessment?
No. He's a great offensive player, but I think it's so difficult to compare eras because if there were some of the players in the earlier years who played in this particular time, their stats would be different. And even in recent times, I don't think he surpasses Kobe Bryant, or you go back to Kareem. I mean, even Kevin Durant would be in the conversation. There are so many people. I don't necessarily agree with that. Although Harden, people forget, even though he shoots, he's high volume, as they like to say. He averages 8 assists a game. And that's primarily because he had a guy who's now injured, Clint Capella, who he could lob. They were very effective, on pick and rolls. But he's a high assist guy, too. But no, I don't think you could say he's the greatest ever. There are so many other people that, you would also put right there. And he would not be the top guy as far as I'm concerned. Although, again, you can put the word great offensive player, but not the greatest.
So, I mean, it's interesting how you say that Kerr would tell you that if he missed his first couple threes, he wouldn't shoot anymore. Now, obviously, as you point out, we're in the day and age where you're encouraged to shoot as many threes as possible,
right,
because if it is, you take a look at the numbers of what a so-called high percentage 2-point shot is. If it's close to the 3-point shot, your ability to make it, you might as well take the three.
Might as well step back. Yeah,
right.
Coaches always tell the players, why are you standing, inches from the line? But last night was an example of that. You have Oklahoma City and the Los Angeles Lakers, two of the worst three-point shooting teams in the NBA. Yet they were on fire early, and it continued. It was so unusual to see that type of game, and I thought the Lakers particularly really played well. I mean, they were down by 17. Obviously, LeBron is out, Rondo is out. They're trying to find themselves. They've had some bad losses recently to Cleveland and New York. So what they did in a tough place to play, Oklahoma City, was really very impressive. We'll see, what that leads to, particularly without LeBron for, who knows how many games. I know they say he'll be clear to practice next week, but they now have games at Houston and then our game Monday night against Golden State. So that's a very tough schedule for them.
Where do you stand with Marv Albert here on the Rich Eisen Show? This subject of Lonzo Ball, who might miss a ton of threes. He can't shoot free throws for his life, it seems, right now. And then he jars that three, and then he goes down the lane, uses the left hand. I mean, he's got some sublime play and then some crazy, hair pulling out play. Marv, where do you stand on the subject of Lonzo Ball's ability?
That was one of the best games. I mean, I don't see him every night, but I thought he was terrific. And I think with Lonzo, as great as LeBron James is, he's a different player. I think he's more tentative when LeBron is on the court, and they have to be able to mesh. But you could see the confidence last night, even the body language. He played a terrific game, and you can see all the potential that's there. I mean, he was very confident. Taking his outside shot and his three-point shot, and that, as you mentioned, that move down the lane was, that was really extraordinary. I mean, it was great, just a great move. So I think that was very promising what we saw from Lonzo. So we'll see what happens, when they get when everybody's back. I think he becomes a different player.
Well, speaking of the East, I mean, promising. The East looks more promising than ever before. But the Warriors have won 6 in a row now, and and now Boogie Cousins comes back tonight. Are we still just biding our time till the Warriors win it all? Do you think, Marv?
Well, I think it's an intriguing move with Cousins because we know all his skills if he's okay, and apparently he is health-wise. At least he has been in practice. But how will he affect this tremendous team that swings the ball, is very unselfish? I mean, I think he will be affected, and he's been a very popular guy around the players. But they have been able to succeed with centers like Kevon Looney, who does not need shots. It's basically putbacks and setting screens, and Andrew Bogut and JaVale McGee, whose career was revived out in the Bay Area. So now you're taking shots away from some of the best shooters in the game. It does affect Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, because now they have to try to work Cousins into the lineup. And, he's a guy who handles the ball well. He's a very good passer. He can shoot threes. I mean, how will he approach it? Because he's basically playing for next year, and which will probably be elsewhere because of the cap situation. But, he's an all-star when he's under normal conditions, normal circumstances, when he's not injured. But sometimes you can have too many, as the Celtics found out, you can have too many star players or guys who will be stars. So I trust Steve Kerr that he'll be able to fit things. Steve was with us for 8 years at TNT, and we had problems. He has personality difficulties with the rest of the production staff on a regular basis. But he's gotten past that, which is good.
Yes. He's a team player.
He handles things so well. I mean, with in terms of relationships and with players. So I think he'll be able to figure it out. But it presents a different type of problem for one of the great teams of all time.
In your years of calling games, Marv, have you ever seen somebody like Michael Beasley come out last night and have the wrong shorts on? Was that a first even for you?
I must say, no. We couldn't believe it when we saw it. The cameraman caught it, and producer and director, were right on it. And at first, you're thinking, when you see something like that, wait a second, maybe he's right and we're wrong. It's like how do you do that? But he did. He showed his speed by getting back. It was a timeout as he came to the scorer's table, and he was swift enough to make it to the locker room and back with the change of shorts. So I thought that was really impressive.
Quick first step. He had a quick first step, Marv.
He did. You could see it right out of the gate.
I would be remiss if I did not ask you before letting you go, Marv Albert, about your Super Bowl memories as we have a championship game weekend coming up in the NFL. How many Super Bowls did you call on the radio?
On Westwood One, I believe it was 6 or 7. And this is one of the best weekends in sports, as you know. I mean, it's you just love it when it comes down. Sometimes more interesting than the actual Super Bowl, although we've had some pretty good ones in recent years. But I love Patrick Mahomes, but there have been questions about New England. I think they're taking it kind of personally, but I think they've been fueled by that. And I like the Patriots for what it's worth. Predictions are, as you know, what they are. And I do like New Orleans over the Rams, although I'm just fascinated by Sean McVay. I love how he can repeat every play, even after games, or look back from weeks before and give you the entire rundown. There are a lot of coaches who can do that in basketball, too.
Is that right?
It's just they just live with it, 24 hours, and they can go back and just repeat every situation and beat themselves up about things that did not go well.
So, which Super Bowl stands out to you that you called?
I think the one with the David Tyree catch, the giant victory over the Patriots. Where the catch was made up against the helmet. That was, again, you take a second look. Did that actually happen? So I think that was, to me, that was the highlight.
Yeah,
of the Super Bowls.
Talk about something that you're not prepared to call, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. We looked at the monitor, and just to double check, it looked like Stickum on the helmet. The way he was able to haul it in. So that I would say was the most memorable that I've been involved with.
Yeah, and then so Saints, Patriots, take it to the bank. Marv, is that what you're saying right now?
To the bank. No, I don't think so.
Bank is not open on Friday with that one. Okay.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think I would trust predictions.
Okay.
For myself.
Last one for you, Marv. Do you think Popovich is truly contemplating retirement right now? He did say something along the lines of he doesn't know if he's coaching this team in San Antonio next year.
Hard to tell, because I think he's been rejuvenated by the fact that this team, after the departure of Ginobili and then Parker left in free agency, and of course Tim Duncan's been gone a couple of years now. They've developed players, and they are certainly a playoff contender. We did them a couple of weeks ago, and this kid Derek White, for example, who was playing G League at one point last year, he's a very good player. We're going to see more G League players similar to the kid in Houston, Daniel House, who now has been a starter. But it's hard to tell because he's going to be the Olympic coach in 2020 also. So I don't know if maybe that's where he goes out, or maybe he won't go out. I know he can stay as long as he wants, and I think he loves it still. And what they have done and developed, and they're so good at developing players, he may surprise and stick around. It's just impossible to tell.
Marv,
with, Pop.
Always enjoy our chats. One time when you come to L.A., I really would love to have you here in studio, just to have you in my house, so to speak. It would be an honor.
We'll do it one day, definitely.
I would love that. Marv, take care. Have a great weekend. We look forward to your call on Monday night.
Is there good food in the green room?
Marv, we've got an absurd number of lifesavers. I'll be honest with you. It's a basic cable terrestrial radio budget.
Good.
Okay.
I'm in.
All right, Marv.
Okay.
Thanks. Take
All
care.
right, Rick, thanks.
All right, that's right back at you. That's Marv Albert.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.